Good evening. And Mr. Eric Franklin is the 11th recipient of the Leading Edge Awards, the Chief Executive Officer of the Year. He joins a group of leaders that have moved Southern Maryland forward, not only from an economic perspective, but also as a caring humanitarian community. Mr. Franklin is the founder, president, and CEO of Aeromax, Inc., which is a professional services corporation headquartered in Dunkirk, Maryland. Aeromax specializes in developing innovative, outside-of-the-box solutions through acquisition, program management, and information technology services. The company has 10 years of continual profit growth and has maintained the highest levels of customer satisfaction. Aeromax was named one of the top 100 minority business enterprise companies by the Center for Business Inclusion and Diversity. Eric is a tireless volunteer in the community, and I can vouch for that because I'm on a lot of committees with him, serving on various volunteer organizations dedicated to improving opportunities for small and minority businesses. And these all include, and it's a long list, so hold on. He's the chairman of the board of the Calvert County Minority Business Alliance. He's a member of the Tri-County Council's Minority Business Task Force, the board of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce, the Bay Business Group, the Calvert County Economic Development Commission, the Prince George's County Chamber of Commerce, the Patuxent Partnership, and he's also vice chair of the Southern Maryland Workforce Investment Board, and this is just to name a few of them. In 2009, Eric Franklin was recognized as the Maryland Minority Small Business Champion of the Year by the U.S. Small Business Administration. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Eric Franklin, the 2011 CEO of the Year.
Thank you. Who was that person they were talking about? First of all, I want to thank all of my employees and business associates that have come to help us eat chicken. Cornish hens. But I wanted to especially thank my wife that gave me a ride here. I don't want to have to get a ride from one of you going back home, but thank you all for being here. I did want to bring out some things. I always take the opportunity to try to lift others up to that want to start and develop their business and move to the next level. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to do that right now. A little different than what others have done, but you all have had your chicken, so you can deal with it, I guess. But
Cornish hen.
Cornish hens, I'm sorry. But I wanted to bring out some things that people ask me all the time, well, how did you become successful? Or how did you get where you got? And yes, we've been successful, and I thank you for recognizing that. But in thinking about that, I started to think about the things that made me successful, and I started to kind of think the other side, because everybody who works with me knows, and my wife knows, I kind of think differently. So there's some things that I learned. I think I learned more from failure than I did from success, and I want to kind of go over some of those things if you're patient with me. I promise I won't be long. First of all, no revenue, no business, period. And some people in starting out their businesses don't really understand that. They got this idea, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make all this money, and I'm going to, at the end of the day, be successful. But number one, no revenue, no business, period. Either you're running a business, or if you have no revenue, you're participating in a hobby. So I want to make sure that you all understand that cash flow is king, and cash flow is queen and jack and all, the rest of the day. Secondly, you are not special. Your mission is not special. You're not a winner, or you're not guaranteed anything, and neither is your business. So if you're human, you have to follow the same rules as everybody else, the rules of physics economics, and the most important rule is the rule of Murphy's Law. Anything that will go wrong or can go wrong will go wrong. So the worst thing that you can do really in trying to start your business and become successful is believe your own BS. A lot of times we think, oh, well, our employers aren't doing it right and we can do it better, and if I had my own company, but that's a part of your own ego. The thing is, you have to be realistic about what the expectations are of business and be able to follow through. Next, I think one of the real important things that I learned from failure is know what you don't know and get some help. Most people only do one or two things very well as far as business is concerned. You may be good at making widgets, you may be good at selling it, you may be good at doing the accounting for it. Most people are not good at all of that. So once you come to an understanding of what you're good at and what you're not good at, then you can go out and get some help, or you can read up, or you can search the internet, for instance. I did a lot of work up front. The second time after I tried to start a business. The first time I didn't know any better, but that's one of the things that I learned from failure. Next thing is, don't get stuck in what I call analysis paralysis. Business planning is good. Know what you need to know to get in business. But once you get into business and about to start your business, the planning phase is over. The thing that's going to make your business successful is execution. And a lot of people can plan and sit down and write reports, and that's good for education purposes, and it's good for background purposes. But if you're good at planning the business, if you're good at the textbook portion of it, if you're good at getting your MBA, very few MBAs can really run a business. So you need to understand that concentrating on the execution of running a business is the important thing. Next thing is understand that the worst case scenario is the only scenario. If you start out a business and think that things are going to be great, and I'll think of these things on the side that might happen. Well, that's usually not what happens. Usually, if you project that you're going to have 100 customers, you might get 10. If you think that you're going to have 12 contracts, you might get 1. And if you don't get those things, then what are you going to do? You're going to quit and go home? Well, you need to think about that. Think about backup plans, and think about backups to backup plans. Put those in place and write it down. We don't like to write. So we tend to put things, we tend to think of things in terms that later on when we come back to those things to try to understand them, we don't have a roadmap to go by because we haven't written it down. So write it down. With regard to financials, divide your lowest financial expectations by 4. And if you can live on that, then you probably can be successful. Now you may do better, but you have to understand what it's going to take to live. My wife and I, my wife supported me. I told her when I started the company, I said, I'm going to do this thing, and you may have to hold it down for us. Unfortunately, she said, I knew it was coming sooner or later, and she supported me. Fortunately, it worked, and then we've grown from there. Strategic partners. A lot of people think, well, I go into a partnership with somebody else. Well, that was my first mistake. When I first got out of college, I went into a waste management firm. Started a waste management firm. I had the business side. He had the technical side because he was a chemistry major, and the business side was great, and he wouldn't come to work. Well, that didn't last long because I didn't know the chemical side of it. So be careful who you essentially get into bed with in business, because it's just like a marriage. Good, bad, or indifferent. And one more thing. Failure is good. You heard the Wall Street, Gordon Gekko said greed is good. Failure is good. It helps you to make decisions about moving forward. The thing is, don't hesitate to learn the mistakes. If you don't learn the mistakes that you make, learn from the mistakes you make, you'll repeat the mistakes. And that's how many people, if you think about it, many people who have gotten into business, or say they wanted to go into business, that's why they fail, because they have not learned from their mistakes, made the adjustments and move on. And understand that I don't care how good you are with business and how successful you are, you will fail again. Everybody will. And what happens when you do? You get up, you learn from your mistakes, you move on, and you become CEO of the year. Thank you all.